Beware, mortal, for I shall unveil a secret realm of terror, a labyrinth of digital nightmares often overlooked by the masses. They are of the hidden, winding trails that lead to the most profound of frights. Each game presented here has been meticulously selected from the depths of Steam's vast catacombs. With less than 500 reviews, they remain shrouded in obscurity, their true potential yet to be fully recognized. Yet, fear not, for their quality is undeniable. Each boasts a rating surpassing the 85% mark, a testament to their chilling power. Within this collection you will find a diverse tapestry of horror, each thread woven with unique terror. From psychological torment to visceral dread, there is something to ensnare every soul. So venture forth, brave one, and explore this realm of undervalued horrors. Many of these ghastly delights won't even feast too much on your time. Perhaps within these digital shadows you may find the ultimate fright.
REVEIL is a horror game set in a creepy circus from the 60s. You wander around these super detailed, trippy environments, solving puzzles and trying to figure out what's going on. It's a mystery surrounding a family that really messes with your head. Think mind-bending puzzles, surreal visuals, and a creepy atmosphere. If you're into psychological horror that comes from like the PT clone era, then this could be your vibe. If you like creepy games where you gamble your life away, then you really should play FLATHEAD. It's a lot like Buckshot Roulette, but with a different game and real style to it. You're going to be playing a simple game of over and under, but the stakes really keep getting higher and higher. And the whole time there's this slow-moving horror creeping closer and closer. It's got this really cool, gritty aesthetic that I really think is a lot more fleshed out than even Buckshot Roulette's. I think even if you're a fan of horror games like Five Nights at Freddy's, I think you're going to probably end up digging this one. That Which Gave Chase is a snowy horror narrative where you play as a dog sled musher, and you've got to take a creepy scientist way into the Arctic. It's all about the atmosphere and tension with this one. Think howling winds and freezing cold. You can get off the sled and explore a bit, but it's mostly a game spent racing through the snow. This isn't a long one, but it's really intense. Next up is Clea. It's a spooky anime-style game that's kind of like a throwback to the OG Clock Tower. You play as Clea trying to escape a mansion and uncover family secrets. It's a survival horror game, so you're going to be doing all of the stuff you expect, like collecting items and sneaking around to avoid enemies. So if you want a simple lock and key sort of horror with a nice hand-drawn look to it, check this one out. Decimate Drive is like a mix of Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive, Silent Hill, and Frogger. You're going to be running through these deserted streets trying to avoid getting hit by these killer vehicles. It's really simple, but it's creepy. There's a story mode and an arcade mode, so you can either play through the story, or you can just see how long you can survive. If you're into horror games that'll make you want to look both ways before crossing the street, this is definitely for you. Chicken Feet is one of those streamer bait games, but it's a fun one. It's a first-person horror game where you're being chased by a giant chicken. Yeah, it's a tongue-in-cheek game, but it's also really creepy. Since you can't fight the chicken, you're gonna have to sneak around and hide to survive. It's set in this really dark, sterile lab, so yeah, it's a really creepy game, and it's perfect if you're looking for something silly, but also still creepy. Then there's Search Party, a pixel art survival horror game where you're a girl who's looking for her missing brother. You'll have to do all of the typical managing of your inventory and avoiding enemies, but it's got multiple endings and unlockable content, so there's a lot to discover here. This is another one that reminds me a lot of Clock Tower because of its chaser kind of enemy. If you're into retro horror, this is definitely for you. Draft of Darkness is a deck-building roguelike mixed with a grungy survival horror game. The combat is unique, using a card battle system with ammo, and you can recruit allies and combine your decks to make more powerful combos. Instead of the node-style progression that you might see in a game like this, like Slay the Spire, between battles you're going to be dungeon crawling through procedurally generated levels. If you like Slay the Spire and Darkest Dungeon, I think this one's worth checking out. Oakwood is a first-person horror game set in an abandoned campground, but there's a twist. Dinosaurs are roaming around, so you're gonna have to sneak around and hide from them to try to survive. This is a real linear one, and it has like a lot of chase sequences, but it'll really keep you on the edge of your seat. So if you're into dino horror games and the Dino Crisis withdrawals are hitting, this won't necessarily satisfy those, but it still is something. Revenge of the Colon is a silly, but still really horrifically off-putting game where you play as a colonoscopist. There are 5 different colonoscopies to do, and it's just as gross as that sounds, but you're going to be looking through your colonoscope and you'll be seeing some really disturbing things. If you're into body horror and you're not afraid of a little bit of gross out humor, this is definitely for you. So if you like spooky stories with a retro vibe, check out Mothmen 1966. It's a visual novel with amazing pixel art that tells a creepy tale about, like the Mothman conspiracy. It's got this real X-Files vibe to it, with tons of choices that affect the story. So if you're into narrative sci-fi games, this is for you. And if you like it, there are other games in this series called the Pixel Pulp series you might also enjoy. And then there's the final game here, which is Janitor Bleeds. It's a first-person horror game set in an arcade, but the twist is that one of the arcade games can affect the real world. You'll explore the arcade, solve puzzles, and jump between the real world and the arcade game to unlock stuff and, progress through a game like you normally would, but it's got that real neat twist. But in addition to that stuff, as you might expect, there's this glitchy monster that is chasing you. So if you're into horror games with this late 80s, early 90s vibe, this is an easy pick. Alright, and that was my Halloween video. Thank you guys all for checking these games out. I hope you found some stuff to maybe pick up or add to your wish list. Yeah, I hope you liked it. I also have covered a lot of other horror games in my videos and in this series specifically about underrated games on Steam, so make sure you go back and check out all of the other videos I've done like this, because there are really some great horror gems in there. If you like the video, do all the YouTube-y stuff. I really genuinely appreciate it so much, and yeah, thank you for watching.